Our homework, we started on the very first page. So just so you guys know, I went back a page. Here's your homework. It's going to be page FM17. Make sure as soon as you come into class, you're writing in the agendas. That's going to be an everyday thing. Let's go through our first daily math practice. So here are the answers you guys should have had. I'm going to go ahead and work them out up here on the board for you, just to make sure you have them correct. When I'm adding numbers, the whole key is I have to make sure that my place values line up. Once my place values line up, it's literally just going column by column from the right to the left and putting the numbers together. So 53,283, add the 8 and 3, I get 11, carry a 1. 12, 13, carry a 1. 4, 5. 1 and 3 is 4. 6 and 5 is 11. Don't forget to put your comma. Total 114,531. Okay? Yes, ma'am. Mahani just asked a great question. Can you use pen to check your answers? Yes. So if you didn't get it right, you can use a pen to correct it. So that way you can see where you made errors. Okay, our next one, number 2, subtraction. Same idea as with addition. I just need to make sure my place values line up. So 47,951. Subtracting 3 minus 1 is 2. 7 minus 5 is 2. Can't do 8 minus 9, so I need to borrow. And I actually need to do a double borrowing because I can't go 0. So that 9 came from borrowing from that 1. Okay, it gives us 18 minus 9 is 9. 9 minus 7 is 2. 11 minus 4 is 7. So 72,922. Okay, now guys, on this next one, I'm going to ask your opinions first. So I'm going to read all 3. I'm not telling you the answer right away. Make the best description of a rectangle. A parallelogram that has 4 right angles. How many feel that one was it? So you're calling a rectangle a parallelogram. Interesting. Okay, hands down. A quadrilateral that has 4 equal sides and 4 right angles.
No, they're not equal.
Okay. Or a polygon that has 4 sides. Yeah, it's a rectangle, not a square. So nobody put the third option? Okay, looks like there's about 8 of you that didn't answer then. Everybody should have had one of these 3 answers. So let's try the first one again. How many said the first one? You called it a parallelogram. Okay, second one, you called it a quadrilateral with 4 equal sides. Okay, Maverick actually noticed it after he read it fully. If it has 4 equal sides, what do we call that?
Square.
A square. So that one would actually work a little better, but the first one is actually your best. Parallelogram means your opposing sides are equal, which does equate with a rectangle. Key being 4 right angles, meaning that is actually a rectangle. So the first one was your best description. Okay, number 4, list the measurements below. I heard a couple of you using the old acronym, which is awesome. King Henry.
King Henry died unusually drinking chocolate milk.
Yes. Okay. The key here is you've got 2 D's. You have to know which one is which, because deca and deci are different. The small d is deci, not deca. Okay. So because I'm going smallest to largest, I start at 18 millimeters, 7 centimeters, 3 decimeters, and 1 meter.
Not even close. I only got 3 mixed up, but other than that, it was
Only 3 mixed up? Not bad since there were 4.
it's like a D.
No, Callie, that would be an F. Because that means you got 1 of the 4 right. Okay, guys, our last one. And here, I'm going to just start harping on something right now. A major skill you guys need to learn and utilize. Anytime we are working with word problems is what we call marking the text. It is so important. You notice I don't have a whole lot on my walls, but that is one I have. So back there, you'll see marking the text. That one is done for ELA, but this is a skill that transfers to mathematics. So we actually skip numbering the paragraphs because when we mark text, it's normally just in one block of writing. But you are going to circle numbers and units. You are going to underline math terms. And you're going to box the question. And that last one is probably the most important. Guys, seriously, Liam, you guys shouldn't be talking while I am. Boxing the question to make sure you answer the question that is asked. Other Liam, put your book away. This is not ELA right now. Okay? On this one, Troy, Rico, and Mario, each is actually circled because each means how many? Each is one. Okay? Bought an item at the bookstore. Tony bought a magazine for $4.99. Rico bought a pocket dictionary for $12.99. Mario bought a package of notepads for $8.95. What is the average amount that each boy spent? So there's our question. We'll box that. Now, key term here, average. How do I find the average, Liam?
First, you add them all together, then divide them by 3. In the end, you get a total of 897.
Good. And let me double check your math. Okay, so for me, it's going to be, I'm just going to round initially because I'm adding them quickly. So that's almost $5. So I've lost a penny. That's almost 13, so that makes it 18, but I've lost 2 pennies, so it's really $17.98. Then I add $8.95. So 18 and 8 is 26. 95 minus 2 is going to give me 93. So I got 26.93 divided by 3. That's going to go 8 times. Subtract 24 gives me a 2. Bring down the 9. Bring my decimal straight up. 3 goes into 29. 9 times. Minus 27 gives me 2. 23 goes 7 times. Subtract 21 gives me a 2. Makes that a 6. So because we're talking American money has how many decimal places? 2. So I'm going to take the 6, meaning the 7 becomes an 8. So it is $8.98.
Write this down because it doesn't make sense. It
Yes,
makes sense.
Brandon.
No, it doesn't.
If you didn't round, you still got the same number.
I don't get it.
I only rounded so I didn't have to write out all 3 numbers and add them up.
I don't. Wait, oh, now I. Okay, this is much easier now.
Okay. Any questions on any of our 5 warm-up problems, guys? Warm up. Ma'am? How what? I literally just did all of them for you. What confuses you? I did. No, that's more like 5. 499 is almost 5. So that's 13 plus 5 is 18. Plus 8 is 26. I took a penny away from each of those, so I take 2 pennies away from this to keep it equal. Makes it 26 and 93.
I don't get it.
Okay? Okay, guys, you can go ahead and put your math journals away for now. Go ahead and open up in your modules to FM 11. Because this is actually an introductory lesson for the module. FM 11, everybody should be there. Looks just like what I've got on the board. Okay, as I've mentioned before, guys, this is a brand new curriculum. I have not taught it all yet. Fortunately, I had the ability to teach it in A2 before we're recording with you guys, so I now have an idea of exactly what all we're going through. even though Ms. McShannon and I have gone through this lesson probably about 5 times prior to today. But one thing I really enjoy about our new curriculum is every lesson, they actually put your learning goals right up front. The reason I like that is before you even start the lesson, you basically know what you're learning that day. So for today, our learning goals are to establish a community of learners, help you guys understand I do want you working together. A preview of the contents of Math Book. In other words, we're going to give you an idea of what is included in your books. Consider how you interact with Math Book to make your learning visible. This is actually a key concept we talked about as we were training for this new module and new curriculum, is the idea that we need you guys to make your learning visible. I should be able to look at your work and see, do you understand the concepts? And this book is laid out to try to help us get that. Understand how Mathia software supports each Math Book topic. We'll go through that towards the end of the lesson. And set personal goals to take ownership of your learning. I love that piece too, because it's not necessarily just what I want. I also need to know what you guys want to get out of this year. Here, to me, is one of the major things. They've added key terms over here on the side, and they let you know this is important. These are important words. I'll be honest with you guys. When I was in school, math always just kind of came easy to me. I didn't really struggle in math, which actually hurt me when I became a math teacher, because I was initially started teaching math from the perspective of it was easy for me, I'll be able to make it easy for you. But I wasn't presenting it well, and my first students didn't do as well as I had hoped that they would. But as I was talking with them and trying to figure out where I was having shortfalls as a teacher, one thing I really learned was, a part of it was, I am an avid reader. I have a very good vocabulary. That's part of why I do stuff like the can I, may I. And because my vocabulary was so good, I was understanding what was happening in math. But if you don't pay attention to the math vocabulary, you're not going to be able to do what I ask. So if I ask you to find the circumference of a circle, but you don't know what a circumference is, are you ever going to be able to find it? No. But if you understand the circumference is the distance around the circle, and I've given you a formula to find that, now would you be able to? Yes. But if you don't understand the vocabulary, you're not going to understand what I'm asking. So for me personally, teaching changed once I started treating math more like a foreign language than working with numbers. Because I learned that as you understood what I was asking you to do, my students were able to do it. And I feel like I've been very successful ever since. So our key term for today is yet. Why do you guys think that's a key term? Liam?
It's saying something else, but it's the same thing. It's basically saying,
They're on the right track, but what is it saying? What does yet mean? Austin?
get. It's using get as. You have one thing, get. So there's another thing in the picture.
You're a lot closer. Sophia, do you think you can clarify it any?
Oh no.
Your hand was kind of going up. Liam?
Oh, I was stretching. Oh, it's not like you will never learn it. You'll learn it soon.
Thank you. That's almost perfect. Some of this stuff you guys may not have it down yet, but you will. So yet is saying what we're doing in this program, guys, is we're linking what you know to what you will know. So you may not know it yet, but you will. Once you've put in the work, once you've gotten to the understanding, then it will all make sense. So we'll use that term a lot this year because most of what we're going to be doing is building on what we do. Okay, review. This is going to be something you'll see at the beginning of every lesson. It's a huge piece of the curriculum, and this is one of the things I really love because what they've done is they've gone through and they've said, okay, what should you guys already know that is going to connect directly to this lesson? And they give you a chance to review it. So these questions review a skill you'll need in the lesson. You're going to need to answer each question. So the first question I want you guys to answer, and you do this, you write right in your book. This book is something for you to write in all year long. That's why it's important that you keep track of it. Why is it helpful to review what you already know before learning something new? So take a minute and just answer that right in your module. Okay, good job, guys. I saw a lot of you really writing, so I appreciate you taking the time to really make an effort on this. Who's willing to share some of the answers you were able to write down? Raina? Good, because by reviewing what you already know, it's going to help you in your understanding. Jaden? Good, in case you've forgotten, it gives you a chance to review the old skill before we get in. I'll be honest, guys, COVID's really messed us up the last few years. So there is some of you who may not have some of these skills. And it's good to identify it before we even start the lesson so we can address that and get you ready for the lesson that we're about to go through. Leanne?
I wrote, so you know everything, and if the thing you learn includes what you reviewed, it will be easy.
And I'll be honest, that's one of the things I like about this book. These reviews are specifically set up so it does pertain to what we're learning that day. So they're not just doing like a random review. I'll be honest, that first 5 questions we did, that's just kind of a random review that Ms. McShannon and I are doing with you guys. The ones that are in the book are specific to the lesson. So you'll see a difference between those 2 sets of reviews every day. Liam? Awesome. I love that use of tools. That's a great word. Maverick? And helping others. I'm glad you brought that in because that's going to be a huge part of it, guys. I really, truly want you helping each other, even on the review parts. If you see someone at your table that's struggling with parts of the review, help them out. Jump in. You don't have to ask my permission. I'm not going to yell at you for talking to each other. We want you to do that kind of stuff. That's all part of our building a community of learners here. How you guys feeling about that? Make sense? Awesome. Okay, so take note. Each lesson opens with a statement that connects what you have learned with a question to ponder. So they're actually going to want you doing a lot of self-reflection. In previous math classes, you've analyzed patterns and relationships, learned about numbers and operations in base, tens, and fractions, and done measurement and data and geometry. So you have all of these skills already from previous math classes. What we're going to be doing is taking those base skills that you already have and continuing to build on them this year. Here's another kind of thought question. How can you use Math Book and Matthew software to meet the goals of this course? And that's what the lesson of today's lesson is kind of about. How are we using all the materials we have in our new curriculum to help you guys get to where you need to be in your learning? Okay, so go to FM12. You already know a lot. Just for the record, these little blue things, these are what we call icons. They represent something, right? So you'll see a lot of different icons that are used throughout this math book that kind of clue you in immediately as soon as you see them to know what is happening. So you already know a lot. Each lesson in this book begins with a getting started that gives you the opportunity to use what you know about the world and what you have learned in previous math classes. You know a lot from a variety of learning experiences. So our first getting started, I want you guys to think back to how you learned something new. That was so easy. Let me say that again. I want you to think back to how you learned something new. I want you to think of 3 different skills you have recently learned. By recently, I'm saying in the last year. So all of you are saying you haven't learned anything last year. I want the name of your 5th grade teacher. I will let them know they had you for a whole year and you learned nothing from them. Okay? So you guys should all be able to come up with at least 1, if not 3 things you learned. So your motivation to learn the new skill, why was it you wanted to learn it? Some of them, maybe if you're looking at academic stuff, it's so I could get a good grade. If it's something you learned in life, like you learned how to crochet this summer or something to do with your parents, whatever it may be. What's the new skill you learned? How to add fractions, how to properly put together a sentence. That's an awesome joke, isn't it? Maverick's looking at a joke I have on my desk. And then strategies I learned to use the skill. So again, reflect on all three of these. I'll give you guys 5 minutes. So think of some, I would probably, personally, I would start in the middle. What new skills do you think you have? What was your motivation? And then strategy you used to do it. So go ahead. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and look through this real quick. We're not actually going to go over this together. We're going to do something that we'll do commonly throughout this course, and that is talking with your peers. So one learning strategy is talking with your peers. In this course, you're going to work with your classmates to solve problems, discuss strategies, and learn together. So what we want you to do is actually compare and discuss your list with a classmate. This is part of the reason we're all set up with people that we sit with. If you ever find yourself someday where everybody at your table is sick but you, feel free to sit at a different table. In case you guys hadn't noticed, I actually basically have all your names down already, right?
What's my name?
Callie?
What's my middle name?
I don't, honestly, I couldn't give you your last names either, but I've got your first names.
What's my name? No one knows.
Manhattan.
What's my name?
Austin.
No.
Yes.
What's my name? What's my nickname?
Was that? It must have been Liam because I didn't see a mouth.
My name's Connie.
Not on the. That's not what you told me to call you.
What's my last name?
Guys, but back to this. What I want you to do as you talk to your classmates, what strategies do you have in common? In other words, what skills did you use? What strategies did your classmate have that you did not think of on your own? So in other words, compare and contrast. What did you do the same? What did you do different? So I want you to take, and then prepare a list of your learning strategies with your class. So I'm going to give you guys about 3 minutes to talk with the people at your table. So what strategies do you have in common? Which ones did you not think of on your own? Anybody have something you can share? Maverick? Oh, that's awesome. You guys both had that same one. And I will tell you guys up front, cooking is a great skill, life skill to have. For those of you who have parents that coddle you a little too much, at some point, I would highly recommend you learn how to cook. Liam.
Me and Austin had logic and practice.
Logic and practice?
Yeah, we both use logic. Just simple logic.
Logic is a great, although logic is almost more of a talent than a skill. It's actually one of the things Miss McShannon and I have fun with each other about. She's a very intelligent person, but her common sense is severely lacking multiple times. Manhattan's agreeing to that in SM. Callie?
We both learned how to do something new in gymnastics.
How to do what in gymnastics?
Something new.
Something new?
Like I learned how to do a front handspring.
Ah, nice. You successful?
It was painful the first like 2 times I tried.
I learned how to do a cargo back salad.
Gymnastics, I have a lot of respect for gymnasts because that is a brutal sport. It is extremely hard on your body.
Not a sport.
Gymnastics is a sport. I am positive.
But while
Okay, guys, listen up. So a couple more. Maverick. Liam. Austin. Couple of side notes on this one. How do your strategies change based on what you are learning and what you already know about it? Think about listening well, cooperating with others, appreciating different perspectives. These are all essential life skills. So even though math, you always think about numbers, these actually are some of the skills you learn in math that are going to apply to everything you do in life. Listening well, cooperating with others, appreciating different perspectives. That's also part of the reason sometimes this wall will be open because Ms. McShannon and I teach things differently. We want you to see different ways to do things. It's actually also one of the things I love about teaching math. Although there's only one right answer, there's actually multiple ways to get there in most cases. And as long as you're using good mathematical practice and mathematical skills, I don't care which way you do it. Okay? Let's look at our next one. See if we get one more done before lunch here. Okay, activity 1, learning together with our math book. In this course, you will learn new math concepts by exploring and investigating ideas, reading, writing, and talking to your classmates. You'll even learn by making mistakes with concepts you haven't mastered yet. I love the fact that they're bringing this out right away. Is it okay to make mistakes, guys?
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's how you learn.
It's how you learn. It's expected. We want you to make mistakes. Now, if you could go through the entire year without ever making a mistake, good on you. But the biggest thing is I don't want you to get frustrated or upset with yourself just because you make a mistake. It's okay. That's part of this yet. Using the word yet should remind you that the process is more important than the answer getting. So take risks. Austin?
I saw this quote. I saw this quote once. A man who makes mistakes grows more than a man who never makes one.
That's absolutely true. And I love the fact you answered to the name you said you didn't answer to. Earlier in the class, he said he wasn't Austin. But as soon as I said Austin, he immediately answered. So guys, I have a good memory. And I will bring it back on you. Okay, so what we're going to do, we want you to flip through the first module of your math book. In other words, when you go to page 1, that actually starts the module. Go ahead and look through. Here's the 3 things you're looking for. What do you find interesting? Does anything look familiar? If you say nothing, again, I want your 5th grade math teachers' names, because if you don't know what an addition sign looks like, that's troublesome. I'll just let you know up front. I had a student last class. You see how there's 2 questions here? What do you find interesting? Does anything look familiar? His response was tremendous. He wrote no. I'm like, dude, there's 2 questions. How can you write no to answer 2 questions? What do you find interesting? No. So you find the word no interesting. Okay? Guys, put some thought into this. Second one, compare the title and subtitle of several lessons. I'll give you a hint. This occurs on the first page of each lesson. So on the first page of each lesson, you can see a title and a subtitle. Read them both. Notice what you see about it. And then finally, describe the icons you see within the lessons. Icons, guys, are stuff like this. Another one of my favorite answers from last class, that is not a pencil. It's a pencil. No, the student wrote pencil, P-E-N-C-L-E. I don't know. We were trying to determine. We came up, it must be like a transition between a pencil and a pickle. Okay? Okay, we've got 4 minutes left before the lunch bell, so I'm going to let you guys work right up to the lunch bell, and we'll tackle this together once you guys come back. So for any of you that were able to go through and find stuff, what did you find interesting? Was there anything that looked familiar? Sophia?
Oh yes, it was searching for common ground.
That's a good one, right? Did you like that one?
It looked familiar.
It looks familiar?
Yeah.
Leanne?
What I found interesting was comparing rational numbers, and what I found familiar was Penn-Dawson area.
Good. Penn-Dawson area. Maverick? Why was that interesting? Oh, thank goodness that made the recording. Guys, should be talking unless you're asked, called on. We had the time to talk as groups, but once I bring it back in, remember that respect piece, right? Right now is our time to talk together. Okay, the last part on the titles and the subtitles? Anything noticed? What did you guys notice on those? Austin?
The titles are always related to subtitles, but not actually saying the titles aren't actually saying what they are, just like kind of like a funny version of saying like breaking the fourth wall.
Okay. Liam?
I was gonna do 3. Is it still on 2?
Yeah, we're still on 2. Okay, so the big one on, oh, Sergio?
So, I look, the subtitle is more in depth about the lesson.
Good. Sergio really picked it up there. So basically the title, guys, it's like a real world way to get your interest. The subtitle is kind of the mathematical standard. This is the math that you're actually learning. So I love that each lesson starts you right off with, here's what today's lesson is on. So you guys get your mathematical standards right up front on every single lesson. But they also try to kind of make it fun and relatable to real world stuff. So you're getting both of that right away in the titles. Okay, go ahead, Liam. What about the icons? What are some of the icons you saw?
They're always a bit different from other well, they're all the same.
You will see a lot of the icons repeated from one lesson to the next. Okay, so for example, in case you didn't pick it up, the little pencil is telling you you're doing an activity. Okay, and there are several icons that they use throughout the book. Our next activity deals with some of those icons. That is for the worked example problems. So what you'll see, you can see the thumbs up, thumbs down, or who's correct, one of each. So I want you guys to take a couple minutes, go through the lessons until you find one of these 3, and then take a look at that problem and figure out what's happening in those. Again?
No.
Okay, was anyone able to find one of those symbols in a lesson? Raise your hand if you were able to.
I found.
Oh, good. Looks like most of you were. Sergio, which one did you find? I'm sorry, Sergio, you said what? Were you supposed to put what page number? There, good job. So you had both of them. So topic, which one? Lesson and activity. Good. How did you know all those pieces? Good. So on the right side, you'll find the topic. On the bottom of the page, you find the lesson number. And then on the top is normally where you'll see the activity. Okay, so which one you're doing? How do you see these problem types helping you learn? Sophia?
So, let's say it was one of the questions about some dude asking for fruit. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if I had a thumbs down thing, I'm guessing the dude was wrong, and now you're going to try to help him find out what's the velocity of fruits. I said velocity wrong, but you get what I'm saying.
You're on the right track. Really, the big deal on this, guys, is you need to understand the topic well enough to identify where the errors are. So it's actually kind of a next level thinking to be able to go through and figure out where they were making errors. That means you understand the process fully because you understand every step of the process, what should be happening. These honestly are some of my favorite questions. Because once you guys are able to identify errors, that means you truly understand that topic. Okay, let's keep going. Go to FM 14. FM 14. FM. Frank Mike. Okay, on FM 14, Here they've given us a worked example. This is a kid named Brody. You see the thumbs up? What does that one mean?
Good job. You did it right.
Means this one is a correct example, right? So they've shown us a correct example. Here's your questions. What strategies did Brody use to make sense of the key term and diagram? So look at his work, see what he did, and then locate the word trapezoid in the glossary. I'll give you a hint. It's not the index. The glossary is the one that has the actual definition. So find the word trapezoid in the glossary. What page is it on? You have to write that page down. And then look at Brody's work here. Figure out what strategies he used to make sense of the key term and diagram. Yeah, 4 minutes. Go.
Only the teachers.
Okay, number 6. What strategies did you guys notice that Brady used to make sense of the key term and the diagram?
Actually, never mind.
You had a good one, though.
What was it?
What did you write down?
LA, remember?
I could use language arts and marking the text.
Good. He used language arts and marking the text. See how he highlighted the trapezoid? But then he also underlined the other two sides. He also circled the math term perpendicular. So he's using marking the text, which is a language arts strategy. Is there anything else he did? Billy?
He also showed his work.
Good. He showed his work. You can see everything that he's doing here, right? Anything else you guys saw? Sergio? Labeled. I love the fact that he labeled, like perpendicular. He actually drew a line showing where that perpendicular line was, right? So he did a really good job of labeling his work. Anything else you guys noticed? Billy?
He got the answer right.
Did he really get the answer right?
Oh, did he? You're the teacher, thumbs up.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be monkeys compared
It's
to you.
because it's a thumbs up because it's a good example. So
It is a good example.
so he must have got it right.
Okay. So another thing I like, he didn't box it, but he underlined the question, show how you can determine the area of the trapezoid.
What else he used?
Yes.
Well, I said he used shapes. You took my answer. You took my
Okay. He did use shapes. There's one other key point that he did in here that you guys haven't mentioned yet.
Wait, use geometry?
No? He actually wrote a note. Whoa, that's not supposed to do that. He wrote a note in there, right? So basically there was a word in there that he wrote that definition right in there. So he added the definition. Who was able to find the glossary and what page the word trapezoid was on? Sophia?
G23.
G23. Okay? So those of you that were in the I, that's the index. That tells you where that word appears in the module. The glossary is where you get the actual definitions for those terms. That was the one on G23. Okay. Jeez. Almost out of time. We are going to do this one. If you guys turn to page FM 19. FM 19 has the habits of the mind. This is a listing of a lot of the things that the module breaks down for you. These are how they want you to start thinking about your module. Turn that page over. Go to FM 20. This is some of your academic vocabulary. So there are certain words, such as the word show. Who can find the word show on page FM 20?
Found it.
Linda, where do you see it?
I see it in represent.
In represent. So show is a mathematical term. You guys remember back at the start? I told you one of the problems I ran into early as a teacher was I would say these math terms and students didn't understand the vocabulary. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So if you see the word show, You can go to academic vocabulary. What's that saying that you should be doing? Representing it. So if you see the word show in your directions, it means I want to see some representation that you understand. You're showing what this means. Do me a favor, go ahead and rip out carefully FM 19, FM 20. As we mentioned earlier, we're actually going to keep your books here in class, but sometimes you're going to need these types of things to be able to do your homework. So I want you to take this page and put it into your binder so that you'll always have that with you. I would also, and actually we're at the point, go ahead and tear out page FM 17, guys.
Oh, wow.
FM 17 is your homework. That's what we're going to do, yeah. Guys, quiet down one at a time. Try not to mess it up. Okay, let's go over your homework really quickly. Your homework is page FM 17. Everyone should have torn it out of your books now. You're leaving the books here and just taking the homework pages with you. On this one, you have a journal. If how you felt about learning math this year were an emoji, what would the emoji be? Draw your emoji and explain your reasoning. So draw an emoji explaining how you're feeling about math this year. Explain what your emoji means. Practice. Share the home connection for topic 1, factors and multiples, with an adult. You're going to follow this. You can either scan this QR code. So you do that into a phone, it'll take you to the internet. Or you can just go straight here. They gave you the URL to put it into the computer. What information does Home Connection provide? So in other words, once you get to this website, what information do you see? We're also going to introduce you guys to your online tutor. We have what's called Live Hint. Okay? As you complete the practice session of each assignment, Live Hint is a textbook assistant. It allows you to obtain real-time hints from any device on questions through the tutor bot. With Live Hint, you never have to navigate through assignments on your own. So you go to livehint.com and you're going to follow the instructions to accent the hints to the question. So you'll have 3 hints that you need to write down. So your homework tonight is actually really easy. Basically, you're going to the home connections, taking a look at that so you understand what it affords you. You're going to Live Hint. Just to make sure it is clear. When Miss McShannon and I were preparing, we went and we were like, uh-oh, which book are we using? And after experimenting, you need to click Math Book. This is the one that we have. Okay? So you're going to go to Math Book. Once you click Math Book, it's going to go here. And you want the intro lesson. So click the intro lesson. That's where you will find those 3 hints that you need to write down as your homework. Maverick, you have a question? Any profile. Live Hints available to anybody. Okay? Also, if any of you are having issues accessing the internet at home, what day is Monday for school? Monday. It's a B day. What do you have at the end of B day? Seminar. What do you have in seminar?
Sessions.
Computers. So don't come to me Tuesday and tell me you didn't have a chance to do it. Use your seminar time Monday wisely. Literally, it should take you guys about 5 minutes to finish your entire homework assignment. This isn't a hard one. Callie?
What's the whole point of seminar? Not like how we get our work done before school ends?
No, the whole point of seminar is really more if you miss class to give you a chance to get back and talk to teachers or get extra help if you're confused. Okay, guys, have